I recently got some 3D printed kits, and I thought I'll compare to my traditional garage kits, see what the difference is there any difference, do they work the same? So, first is the packaging. So, as far as for vintage garage kits, this was a general release one. You could see the price in yen, and at the time, this was like, say, from the 90s, the yen to dollar exchange rate used to be like 100 yen for $1. So roughly, you take away 2 zeros, and that's what the retail price was going to be. So they came with a licensing sticker, nice boxes. You kind of got what the model completed looked like. And even though this one was for the Japanese market, sometimes they had English on the box. Sometimes it's not 100% good grammatical English, but English all the same. So inside, the parts. So I feel like a big difference between the traditional resin parts versus the 3D printed ones is you're going to get seam lines, because the way the model was made, it was sculpted back then it was sculpted by hand, but even if you did 3D, then you would get, you would make a 2-part mold, so you usually silicone. So this would be where the 2 mold halves met, and you know, you would have to sand this, fill it in, whereas here there's no seam lines, but there's other things. So for example, there's little dot marks here. This is where like the supports were when you printed it, so those would have to be filled in, but there's no seam lines. Also, there's some drill holes here, I think, to hollow out the resin. So whereas this is solid, and usually like you would do pinning. You could see here like the legs, the one boot, the skirt, all one piece, where here they're all kind of like separate pieces. But I mean, that's just like a product of its time with better casting, because I have a lot of newer, say, garage kits that they have better breakdown. So this one's kind of like really old, so the part breakdown was like this. And then they also came with instructions. The instructions were kind of always like, you got the parts to make sure you understood what, you know, make sure all the parts were included. And I looked at this one already. This, I don't know where exactly this part's supposed to go, unless it's like from over there, so I have to maybe look at that a little bit more closer. But anyway, so this one's like a pretty simple one, but some of the parts are heavy, so it definitely needs some pinning. Like this is like a heavy solid piece. But anyway, so this is how it came. This one was released by where is that? By G-Port, right? So this company, as far as I know, no longer exists, and they used to do a lot of garage kits back in the day, and from what I remember, they always did like 1/8 scale, about that. So this one is 1/8 scale, and it only came in this scale. Like you couldn't say like, oh, I really like this sculpt, but you know, can I have it in 1/6 scale, 1/4 scale? It's like this is what it was, and each model came in its own size. Whereas this one, I opted for 1/10 scale. So, but I could have got other sizes. I could have got 1/8, 1/6, etc. So this one's 3D printed. You see, like, it didn't really come with anything, let's say. It doesn't come with instructions. It doesn't come with a box. It's just, this is this. Okay, so this specific one is from Neko Figurines, and I got it from Etsy, but I got it from a seller that says that they're fully licensed to sell prints of this sculpture. So as far as like, this is like, I guess as best as it's going to be, that this one is licensed. Well, it's licensed to the sculptor, but it's not licensed to the property. So for example, this is like, you know, K-pop Demon Hunters. This has nothing to do with that series. It's not official merchandise, where this is official merchandise. This is not official merchandise, but it's still original to the sculptor. So it's not like, say, like a recast. It's not a bootleg. It's that this is original to the sculptor, but it's unlicensed. It's unlicensed. And back in the day, it was, I would say it was more uncommon to see unlicensed kits like all over the place. Like sometimes they were like, you know, like if you were in like a forum and someone was selling something of like a small edition, say like, you know, 10, 15 copies, kind of, like especially like in America, maybe not in Japan, but people kind of like, you know, like looked the other way. It wasn't really, you know, as long as like it wasn't widespread, kind of, that's how it was. But here, I mean, these now, they're like all over. They're on eBay, they're on Etsy, so it's not exactly, they're not like on the down low, I would say. So, and there's just so many of them. If you go to see certain properties, certain like IPs, like there's so many now garage kits that you could get for so many different figures that wasn't there, like say 10, 15 years ago, which is nice for the builder. You know, like the 3D kits, they still have the same problems. Like for example, the part fitting, maybe it could be a little bit better, but you still have to, you know, part fit everything. As far as pinning, that's the only thing I'm not too sure about, because these are like hollowed out, so, and the keys are like so much deeper, so maybe I don't have to pin. But when I paint, I do kind of want to have this hanging on something. So although if it's already drilled, I guess I could go like this, paint, you know, I guess that works out. So yeah. So the thing is that even though like this is a nice official piece of merchandise, and to me it's like this was like the best you could get, because it looked exactly like the anime character, better than like say dolls. The only thing I would put this on the same level would be like say an animation cell, but even those obviously they're not made anymore. But for series that did exist, I feel like that was like the best of what you could get. A garage kit or an animation cell, that was like the best. For me at least, obviously my opinion. This series, this is like put out by G-Port, but the individual sculptor is Rujin. And so, but it has the backing of the manufacturer. So they didn't like put this out themselves. They sculpted it, and then like G-Port did all the, I guess like the packaging, the this, the that. So besides the ones that come in boxes, they also had convention style. So this one's from, I'm actually not sure what convention this is from, but it's that's the Type Moon sticker. So this was also like a garage kit, and this one obviously doesn't have the backing of like a big company. This is like specifically by an individual, and it was sold at one of the conventions. The part fit on this one specifically is not the greatest. So this one's gonna be like a lot of work, and I actually don't know, or at least I don't remember what this model is supposed to look like anymore. It doesn't have the completed picture with it, and I wasn't always good with printing the auctions, because sometimes there might have been like a picture of the completed model in the auction, and but here I'm going through some old stuff and I see I paid 3,000 yen for this in 2017. But again, I didn't print the auction page, so I don't really know. I think this is maybe from like maybe Faith Extra, going by like these lines in the outfit, but I don't know. This one I just pulled out. So the thing is with the bag, like, so the conventions kits, they could have been in bags or boxes, depending on what the individual decided to do. So this one, you could see, is completely, I would say, done by this individual. They sculpted it, they casted it, and then they packaged it, and packaging, it just went in the bag. And for storage wise, I mean, what's nicer to store? This is obviously nicer to store. Like if you have, like, say 5 of these versus 5 of these in the box, you're gonna run out of storage very quickly. But as far as like in America or like in Europe, they, it seems most sculptors, they are on Patreon, and they sell the STL sheet, that, like the file, that like if you had your own 3D printer, you buy directly from the sculptor and then you print it, and that's what you have. So for me, and maybe for like other people like me that don't have their own 3D printer, the next best thing is finding someone that bought the commercial license from the sculptor, and then if you buy that, it's as if you're supporting the sculptor, let's say, because you're supporting the person that bought the commercial license to sell the kits. So I don't know. I mean, I worked with traditional garage kits for many, many years, so I like the feel of that resin. A thing that I'm concerned with these 3D printed kits is, I'm not doing it myself. So if you see, like, there's some shiny spots here, what does that mean? Is this like uncured resin? Is this just residue? Is this like, how did this come to be? So I don't know. So this is just something to keep in mind. I mean, I'm handling this barehanded right now, but when they first come in from the mail, when I open them, I definitely put on gloves just to make sure. I'm not sure, like, hopefully, like, the manufacturing process that the seller I got from cleaned it properly, and there's no uncured resin hanging out, but I'm just not sure. So the 3D printed, I don't know, like, if I'm getting the best quality. If you done a few garage kits, you kind of know, like, the scale is arbitrary. Someone's 1/8 scale might be someone's 1/7 scale. So it's like, it's whatever they deem their scale. Usually, like, size measurements is better, so you could kind of see, like, okay, it's this amount of centimeters tall, and then figure it out. So this one said it was 1/10, but then the measurements it gave was about like 7 inches or something tall. So I was like, all right, that's pretty tall enough. I don't need it taller than that. And the smaller you get it, the cheaper it is. So I got this set in 1/10 scale. And the price wasn't so bad. Now this one's from a different manufacturer. And this one I also went for their 1/10 scale. I guess. This is... on screen. If you got this kit, like, so say like this one, it has some air bubbles, these like, you know, these have the flash pieces have to be cleared, but pretty much, everyone that got this kit from G-Port's gonna have like the same building experience, let's say. Maybe like, you know, someone might have an air bubble here or there that someone else didn't have, because each one is hand poured, each piece with the resin. So, whereas this, I don't know, like if I get it from a different manufacturer, the coloring could be different, the resin could be different. So, I don't know, there's a lot of variability. I don't know, like I tend to like buy in bulk, like a new product or something, even when I don't know if I'm gonna like it. So, in a span of a few months, I bought maybe like 14 3D printed kits from about like 5 or 6 different sellers. So we'll see how they all compare. So again, this is one of my first ones, so I don't know if this is like amazing quality, not amazing quality. To me, I think this is like really great quality, because I don't see any layer lines. So to me, I think this is going to be really easy to work with. The only thing that I have reservation with is there's some of these shiny spots. Not sure yet because I don't have a large sampling size for them. This is from another kit that I got, and I specifically asked the seller, and I was like, well, the flames, are they going to be clear? Are they like, what's the story? And they told me that they could do it in this color resin, which is kind of like a clear pink, which is great. But say like I ordered it from someone else, maybe they were just gonna print it in like the gray color. So whereas with the Japanese kits, the garage kits, if something's shown to be like a clear resin part, it's probably, I would say like 99%, like when you get the resin pieces, that piece will be cast clear. Where this, you kind of have to make sure that if you're looking at like a sample and it's casted in like clear, you want to double check with who you're buying from to make sure they could cast it in clear. One of the things that kind of like almost kills me, so you know, like I look for reviews like anyone else, like when they're considering who to buy from, and surprisingly some of the sellers, they're getting dings for things like part fit or part breakdown, and I'm like, this is out of their control. They're just a printer, so they didn't design the kit, they have nothing to do with the breakdown. I mean, as far as I know. I mean, I don't know, I could be wrong. I don't know, maybe they could change the part breakdown, but from what I understand, they're just printing the ready-made file that the sculptor themselves made. So, you know, I guess when I think take reviews with a grain of salt, if depending on what they're reviewing. So like to me, when I'm looking at this, I like what I see. They did their job. They printed this properly. So would I buy from them again? Yes. So I feel that if there was a model that I wanted currently that's only available as a 3D printed sculpt, then yeah, I would get it. For example, this deedlet. I already have this nice resin kit, so like it would have to be like phenomenal pose or something like that for me to be like, all right, I'll get the 3D printed one too. So it seems like a lot of the newer series, so say like Demon Slayer, Farron, they're gonna have a lot of 3D printed sculptures, and they're like really nice. But some of the vintage property, like say like Sailor Moon, that has like so many original vintage garage kits, There are some out there that are 3D printed, but it's not really the focus of like the current crop of artists, I feel. Like they're doing what's new. But then there's like a lot of vintage stuff too. So like there's like new stuff from Death Note, Dragon Ball 2, and also a lot of like pop culture things, so like movies. So it's actually a really exciting time to be like building right now. That's all I gotta say. So, what do you think? Do you prefer 3D printed kits or traditional kits, or it kind of doesn't really matter? It depends what's sculpt you want that's available.